What is it about buildings that we need to sort of measure to understand better?
The built environment is considered usually the second largest source of greenhouse gas emissions. I actually think it's worse than that because we're not currently tracking refrigerant loss as closely as we probably should be. But whether it's first or second, it doesn't matter. It's a huge source, right? And if you go to major cities, you will find that it's not the second largest, it's super dominant. So in New York City, over 70% of the emissions last year actually came not from transportation or agriculture, it came from the heating and cooling the buildings in the city.
So it's more than all the cars driving around, all the taxis driving around New York City?
In New York City, absolutely.
So if we electrified all the vehicles in New York City, we still are emitting 70% the same?
That's correct.
Okay, so let's get very practical. I got a building in New York City, so that's where you're based. Talk to us about what happens when you deploy your platform into that building.
A lot of what we're doing is actually bringing techniques and technologies that we have used on power plants for a long time. They measure their emissions, they scrub their exhausts, they fix their leaks, and they have to do it because of the Clean Air Act. We know how to do all this, we just haven't yet applied it to buildings. So before Thalo, oftentimes people are not really measuring anything.
Can you give us any examples? After Thalo is deployed, we're like, oh my gosh, because we now have this check engine light, it's like going off all the time. Yeah. And then as a result, we have fixed the following things, and that resulted in emissions reduction. Can you talk through a little bit,
Certainly.
An example or two?
Sure. There's a good example in Midtown that we were in over the winter. This particular building has what's called a cogen facility. It co-generates heat and electricity for the building.
Okay.
Uses natural gas to do so. We instrumented this facility, and this is run by one of the leading real estate investment trusts. These people really care about their buildings. They really care about their emissions. After we instrumented it, we found combined a leak that was the equivalent of 38,000 metric tons of CO2 per year.
Wow.
And that was an unforced error. And it's not even a leak that you would traditionally consider. It got all the way to where it should be, and it wasn't combusted. And unless you're looking at your actual emissions, you'll never smell it. It goes up the exhaust. So we enabled them to save 38,000 tons. You say that's a lot, and the answer is yeah, it is a lot. Like most buildings' footprints from their combustion is less than that.